what Dr. Deming is talking about is, yes, there's variation in the number of red beads. The red beads are caused by the system, not the individual drawing the beads. But what I found particularly exciting is if you go one step further and look at the variation in the white beads, that's a breakthrough opportunity. So what if we plotted all the white beads? In other words, when looking at the red beads, we're looking at the number of red beads each time. Okay, so for the white beads, instead of counting the number of white beads, which would be, let's say, all of them, 50 each time, what if we go one step further and look at the sizes of the white beads, the actual color of the white beads? And so the question then becomes, are all the white beads identical, or is there actually variation within the white beads? Again, variation in color, variation in the thickness of the white paint, in the color of the white paint. And then you'd find out there actually is. Because just as cloning does not produce identical offspring, what Dr. Deming was saying is variation there will always be. When you begin to understand that there's variation in the white beads, there's two opportunities. One is begin to understand that if you don't focus on the variation in the white beads, then you're treating all the white beads as the same. Then you're saying achieving 100% white beads is the answer. Well, it's hard to explain continuous improvement or continual improvement if you have that model. So what I find is the breakthrough is if you begin to understand that there's actually variation in the white beads, then you can start to look at the variation in the white beads. If you were to begin to manage that, that could be increase it, decrease. But when you look at the variation in the white beads, the impact of that shows up when how that aspect of the system integrates with a greater aspect. So instead of treating all white beads as the same for every element of the system, which implies that they're all plug and play, that I can take any transmission, any scalpel in an operating room, any surgeon in an operating room, by pretending that all the white beads, striving for 100% white beads is the answer, then what you're striving for is that everything in your system is interchangeable. What Dr. Deming is actually saying is that the elements of the system have variation. So the breakthrough is, if you begin to understand that there's variation in the white beads, then by monitoring that, you can prevent the red beads from happening in the first place. So instead of asking, does your car have gas, you start to look at the quantity of the gas. By monitoring the variation in the amount of gas in your tank, instead of asking, is the gas good or bad? Do I have gas or not? Asking how much, I can now prevent bad from happening. Simultaneously, that gives me an opportunity to start to think about, if I manage that white bead distribution, because now I'm going to have variation in diameter, now I start to look at how does that affect how this integrates into a bigger system. That provides opportunities to look at how can I be spending time to save time, which is fundamentally what it means to look at things as a system.